See, environmental justice exposes environmental racism and environmental classism. And environmental racism and environmental classism is manifested in what's called LULUs. A LULU stands for locally undesirable environmental land uses.
Oh, okay. No crack. No crack. No.
We're a struggling community, we're a small community, and we take care of what's ours. Now, when we hear that they're coming down in our backyard to start drilling on a certain date for 10 days, that's not fair, it's not right. I think it's disrespectful.
That we find it as a community that it was very appalling that we didn't even get a leaflet, a phone call, or a letter.
You send us our water bill and you gonna tell us about your spring press, but you cannot tell us that you sending someone in our neighborhood?
The government is for the people and by the people.
That's right.
So the people should be included in the planning process anytime that you make a decision to take into your own hands to allow people to come in and do this.
I am concerned about fracking. I'm concerned about loss of property rights, health issues, and the data that supports those health problems that come to communities, the way of life. The drain on our resources, particularly our water resources, is every time a well is fracked, it takes at least 3 million gallons of water, and I'm concerned about those things.
The retaining dam at Blues Creek Steam Station was given the highest risk potential that can be assigned. The report from the EPA states, dams assigned the high hazard potential classification are those where failure or misoperation will probably cause loss of human life.
All right, we're back in session. Any further discussion?
However, I love this community. I've been here since 2000. I was the one who asked the guy from the Geological Society last meeting, does this have anything to do with fracking? And he said no. After the meeting was over, I wrestled with that decision and came to find out that taking this course, sample drilling, could possibly lead down the road to fracking. So in that, I would like to change my vote as nay from last session, if that's possible.
I don't think it's possible. You can't do that.
I wasn't able to rescind the vote. It died for lack of a motion or second.
It needs a second. The motion has failed due to a lack of a second. Why is there no second?
because my mom bought the first house in the Walnut Tree and they had to build it. They were just starting construction. Oh, it was great. It was one house on our end, the Listers in the middle, and the Welches all the way on the other end. It was all dirt. It was just starting to get it lighted off, and stakes in the ground for other people that were waiting on construction to their homes, and mostly just a great place to ride my mini bike and dirt bike.
They walked in, we on the outskirts, they supposed to been incorporating them, we'd never been incorporated. We on the outskirts of town. The city limit sign is past the first house of the Walnut Tree.
And it was getting a little bad in New York, so we moved down here. I have a couple of relatives down here. We came down here, looked around, I liked the place, so we decided to move down here and give our children a chance to be kids.
It was a well-knit community because we were all friends. Most of us went to the same church. We all went to the same schools. We all went on church picnics together, and it was a great place to live. When you would ride through, you would see kids out playing basketball, riding their bicycles. I mean, it was everything that my mother dreamed of, or the type of place to raise her kids.
Previously, we lived at on Pine Hall Road, down near Blues Creek Steam Station. We lived in three different areas on Pine Hall Road near that whole area.
We actually started out right beside their first landfill.
And they were displaced. They lived across the street from the Walnut Tree, the Martins. Their son Randy and I were the same age. So it was great moving over there knowing I had a schoolmate and a friend. But he had to relocate from Pine Hall School up here to our elementary school because Duke Power had forced them out, bought their land, and started, at that time they were starting the steam station up.
The attitude in town was very welcoming to Duke Power at that time. And believe it or not, the increase in economic activity was very pleasing to most people, even to property owners in that area that sold property to Duke Power, some of whom were farmers that sold to Duke Power.
I would go outside and I'd see all this gray matter just flying in the air. And I'm like, what is that? But it was landing on my car. I would take my hand, brush it off. I would take water and a bucket to wash it off. And the place where that fly ash landed ate the paint.
Started in 1985 when I got out of the military. And we actually tested the fly ash, see if it was good, bad, could be sold or hauled to the landfill. If it was to be hauled to the landfill, you put it on dump trucks, you hauled it to the landfill, and of course, dozers pushed it off into the hollows or wherever. And once you got so much in it, then you had to cover it with 2 feet of dirt and sow it in grass.
I could see him on the landfill. And if I did this and tell him to come home, he could come home. So yeah, that's how close we were.
I didn't like when that ash, I mean, it would blow ash. Sometimes it would be in the air and it would cover. I could be outside and I could feel it on my face. And at that time I didn't realize what it was until I could see it on the flowers, on the bushes at times. And then when it got on my car, it was black and it was just great. You could write your name on it.
Oh yeah, you came home gray from the fly ash, and depending on the direction of the wind, everything coming out the smokestacks back during that time, it covered your vehicles, yard, houses, whatever.
Not too much of leaving the windows open because, you know, when the spring comes and you open the windows, everything landed on the furniture, carpets, your sofa, you could see it on the furniture. So
they said there was minor risks to it, and same way they did with putting out about eating the fish out the lake. You know, you could eat up to a certain amount, and of course you caught fish that had sores on them. They blamed it on the selenium, but if you dig a little deeper, you got a certain amount of arsenic mixed in with it anyway.
I've been investigating coal ash and toxic effects on fish and wildlife for 35 years. And it all started actually here at Wake Forest, up the road at the Blues Creek steam station site back in 1978. So I went up there and did some investigation and saw that the fish were disappearing. And I didn't know why. And so I started to ask some questions and found out that it was because of the coal-fired power plant there at Ballew's Lake, and the coal ash wastewater was getting back into the lake and poisoning the fish.
Back in this after the plant started up and the fly ash was flying, I started getting weakness in my hand. I went to several doctors, and they thought I had MS, that I was coming down with MS. It was like half of my body, the left side just was going in an opposite direction. My hand, my fingers was like that, over here. I got it fixed, I thought, and this is what I ended up with. It looked like those little deformed fish that's in the water at Ballew's Creek.
About 1986, the power company changed the way it handled the ash.
Years ago, they used to pump it into the river, into that river, you know. And then slowly EPA and the government got involved, and well, we need to start a landfill procedure. And like I said, all you did to the landfill, you cleaned off an area, maybe 2 acres at a time. And a lot of that area, you know, is just full of hollows and stuff. So it was good areas for just to bury the fly ash in. And like say you brought it up to a certain elevation, you covered in 2 foot of dirt and you sowed grass on it. You were done with it. There was no liners, none whatsoever.
Even what happened back then, it has to have some kind of factor on what is going on now with the fracking and the drilling and all the stuff that they want to do.
Coming across these mountains and foothills and looking at the verdant green, looking at the rolling hills, looking up and seeing the beautiful sky, I could not help but think, why would you want to frack this up?
Hallelujah. Yes, sir. Say it again. Say it again.
My thing to you all tonight, we met 2 weeks ago here. I said then, you all sent us your water bill paper out stating that you're having your little function downtown on that bill. Nothing was said about your drilling. You all have had 2 weeks to walk in that neighborhood and say something to some of us. None of you have showed your face. I am very disappointed. We stood and salute to that flag just now. We salute to that flag. You all don't even have the decency to salute to us. You said 10 days. Friday ain't got here yet. You all know those people who walking here yesterday. It was a disgrace to us. Do we look like we got a big ass stuck up on our head? We like gone.
Now, with all that said, we shall not be moved.
Until we can get our politicians to say, you know, enough is enough, these companies are going to do that.
Just like a tree.
If I have to sell everything I got over there on 1125 Adams Ridge Road to fight this, I will.
We're here to let you know you're on call. We want you to know that we're looking at you.